the threading when you are using thread, and also the couple of example of the thread in operating system, including Windows and Linux. But pretty much it will not take time to finish that. Followed by the exercise lab. So we talked about the thread. The thread is a sequence of the instruction, but in our definition of thread instruction code, so we are going to make the module by module, and to save the storage of the memory, instead of creating the entire process, we can create the thread specific area, including the stack area and the data area and stack and the program counter. Okay, so then we can get those speed up. So there are several issues raised in the thread. So first one is the fork. So what is a fork? Fork is the system code to create the process. So suppose that we have a processor that creates the fork thread. When we issue the fork, the system code, what happened? We need to copy the current process as it is, which means all thread will be copied as it is. So does it make sense? So we need to decide whether when we issue the fork from the process that has already created the thread, whether we exactly create the same thread or not. Okay? So because of that, there are options. Some of the operating system provide two different types of the fork, the system code. One is only process without thread. Another one is as it is, it's a copy, clone. Okay, so that is the issues raised in when you are using the thread. However, EXEC is not a big problem. EXEC, once the process is copied, when you load the data, you can just load the data. So EXEC usually is not a big deal. Another issue is the signal. Signal is an interrupt signal or the further communication signal. So when you ask, so for example, suppose that we have the I/O wait. So during the I/O wait, the processor will not do anything. So it can be moved to the wait queue. But that I/O will be raised by the one of the thread. What about the other thread? Is this stop? And what if when I/O is completed, who received that? The I/O core. So we will talk about a little bit later. So also the scheduling issues in the thread also. Whether we are going to schedule thread by thread, or whether we are going to schedule process by process. Mostly thread by thread we can schedule. But when we schedule the thread, then how many kernel thread will be assigned for the user thread? Okay, so that is another issue. Anyway, so for each thread, when they got the signal, who received that signal? Process or thread? So sometimes you need to specify the specific thread who received the I/O, the signal. Otherwise, all thread will be stopped. It cannot be scheduled. So there will be the delay of the system. So signal you need to take care. So most of operating system provide the option in your thread library to specify the specific thread who received the signal. Okay. Also, when you cancel the thread, so that is called the target thread. When you in your Java program, you can make the runnable, the class, and instantiate and run such a runnable thread. Then, when you terminate such a thread, there are different types of thread. Because one is a synchronous thread. Another one is different. A synchronous thread from driver main process is immediately stop. So they will lose any temporary data or the processing. On the other hand, the default cancellation is just to send the signal. You need to stop the process. However, if there's any ongoing operation or the I/O wait, the thread will continue until their operation is completed. However, the main process needs to keep checking whether the thread is contaminated or not, periodically checked. So that is called the deferred cancellation. If you want to allow the thread, the gracefully terminated, you can use the deferred cancellation. However, if you want to revoke any the resource used by the thread, you feel the system is slow, so something like that, then at that time you can learn the asynchronous cancellation, immediate cancellation, or termination of the thread. Also, sometimes you wanna keep the thread specific data. So to keep such a data, it's not temporary, so it's called the thread local storage. Thread local storage, you may not recognize a specific area. Instead, if you define, for example, class as a static, okay? So that is kind of the thread, the local storage, okay? So everything when you create the class and in the Java, it's a thread. So that thread is if you create the static, the storage as static class, that will be the local storage for the thread. So it's not a big problem. Scheduling problem. So we need to schedule. So in case of the many-to-many or the two-level, the two-level thread, the architecture, we have the number of thread for the user mode and number of thread for the kernel mode. But this kernel mode is managed by the kernel. Okay, so I need so I can schedule using the very fancy, nice, perfect algorithm. So and execute the program. But if the kernel thread cannot support such a user thread scheduling, it may be slow. Even though this scheduling is perfect because of this one. So you can request from the user thread the specific, the kernel thread or the scheduling. That is called opcode. So you can activate the opcode, the scheduling. You can request to the kernel. That may be also possible. Okay. Then each operating system provides such a thread, especially the nowadays thread is more important. The Windows as well as Linux we have. Okay, so that is the end of the chapter 5. So we will 4. We are going to continue the second exercise lab. So why don't you? I'm going to give a couple of minutes to be ready for your exercise lab, and also I'm going to set up mine. So we are going to start the second exercise lab today. Mostly we will finalize the file access permission and command for the process control. Then we will practice more about the VI editor today. So anyone who practiced last night the VI editor? What is the most difficulty?
Yes, it keeps checking to save and write in.
So there are 2 different modes. Okay, actually 3, but the 2. One is input mode, another one is control mode. So if you can toggle the conveniently, then I think that the others are just straightforward. So if you realize the 2 different mode of the VI, so that is the best way to learn. So before that, in the Unix and Linux system, everything can be recognized as the file. Like if you attach the new hard disk drive, it's also a file. Device is a file. And I/O device is also a file. And your data structure is also a file. So file itself is also a file. So it's very important to understand and to manage the file itself. Okay, so there are, we will discuss later, probably the middle of the semester, details about the file permission. The Linux system provides 3 different permissions: read, write, and execute. So it's called the RWX, the read, write, execution permission. There are 3 permissions. Then there are three different groups. One is the user, owner of it. Another one is read, write, execute for the group. So we learned about the group student group, OS group. Okay, so group of the user. And another one is the others. It's a public. So, for example, if I allow read, write, execute for the user, and read, write for the group, and read for other, which means anyone can read the file. Okay. However, group, those who belongs to the same group as the file, okay, owner, they can read and write only, not execute. But owner of this file, me, can read, write, execute. So there are 9 actually different permissions. So you need to set up you can set up this permission using chmod command. You are going to frequently use this one. Why? Because the next time when we are doing the shell programming, your shell should have enough permission. Okay? And also sometimes you can let other user use the shell program. At that time you need to give the other to execute the file. Okay? Also, when you compile the program, compile is an executable file. Executable file does not always provide the permission to be executable. Okay, you need to specify. If you do not provide the proper permission, you cannot do that. So, first, why don't you type the ls command? Okay, why don't we see the file list like this one? So, when you list up your file, you can see the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10 characters, the beginning. So, first one shows the type of file. First character. D means what? It's a directory. Nothing is a file. So, this is the only file. This is a directory. But sometimes you can see S, large S. Sometimes small s. Okay? This is your homework. What does that mean, small s? What does that mean, large s? Okay? Sometimes you can see L. Okay? L means it's a link. So we will see what is a link later, but why don't you find the S? Also sometimes you can see the T. T means what? Yes? Temporary. So if that is a temporary space, it's the 10, T. Okay? So, homework. I'm not going to check your homework, but why don't you research it after the class? What does that S means? Okay? Smallest, largest. Okay, so let's go back to the file. In this case, sometimes some of the file has RW, sometimes RW-RR. Dash means no permission. Okay? So you can group by 3. So 3 character, and 3 characters. So first 3 is the owner, like this one. Next is the group. This is a public, the other. Okay? It's a public and group and me. This is the me, the owner, group and public. Okay? 7557 me. Okay. So this is the owner, the user, it's my permission, and the G is the group, this one, and read, and the last one, public, is the read. What about this one? This file, I can only read and write this file. Okay? Whatever the file is. I don't know what this file. Anyway, IW only. And group member cannot read, cannot write, cannot execute the file. The other public cannot read, cannot write, cannot execute. So you can understand the meaning of the first three, except the first one, the first three RWX means the me, the owner of the file permission. Next three, group. The last three is a public. Okay? So read, write, execute, read, write, execute. We can change, we can add or revoke the permission. Yes. So that command is the chmod first. So clear this one. And why don't we create the dummy file? How can you create the dummy file? Touch last time. Touch is the command to create the dummy file. Let's create the AA. Okay? It creates the file structure itself without any content. So how can we see it? ls-al AA. So this is the file. What's the file size? File size is 0. Okay? So file size is 0. It's just a file without any content. So what is the permission of this file? rw-rw-r-, which means for me, read and write. Actually, we don't have to execute. It's just a dummy file. That's the reason. Actually, it's not there. And group can read and write the file. For public, other user, only read the data. So this is a permission. If you want to give the permission, write permission to the other, okay, at the time, you can chmod. O is other. So O, U, G. So U represent the user owner, and G represent the group, and O represent owner, and the other. So plus O plus add, write permission. So O plus W means give the plus, add, write permission to the other. Okay, you can see the change. So RW, RW, RW is changing, right? The previous one, we didn't have the W, but I just add using this command. So add W permission to the other. So if you want to take out the read permission here, so how can you take out the read permission? So minus read to what? Group. So from the group, take out minus read permission for file AA. So then you can see the R is changed. So anytime you can change the permission of the file if we want. But this is not convenient. Because you need to specify the other group or whatever. So there's a more convenient way. That is probably you see this one. Change mode and number for the file. Number is determined by read permission is 4. Write permission is 2 and execution permission is 1. Okay. So if user has all these permission, just add up. What is the value? 7. And group, this is a 4, 2, 1. How? Read permission is 4, write permission is 2. Add up. 6. Okay? And this is a 4, 2, 1. You have the write permission, read permission, and execution permission. So what is the sum of the permission? 5. We can run this one.
Wait. So that's okay.
So why don't you try? Then see how the permission is changing. So chmod 765 and the AA. So you can see RWX, RWX, and RW, RW, and RX. So each number actually has the meaning. 1 is execution only. 2 means write only. 3 means it's a 2 plus 1. So WX. 4 means 3 plus 1. So 3, there's no 3. 4 means a read. Okay? And 5 means it's a 4 plus 1. So RX. 6 means 4 plus 2. That is the RW. 7 means RWX. So each number has the meaning. So you don't have to memorize this one. Just remember 1 to 4. 4 to 1. Then you can add up properly. It's a very convenient way, actually. Also, depending on the terminal, sometimes they provide a different color for executable file. So the green color means in this operating system, it's not general functionality, but you can realize that. Okay, then when we are doing the shell programming, sometimes you need to provide execution permission. At the time, you can use the change mode, the number, or plus X. Okay. I will give the couple of minutes to test. You can change whatever you want. How to create the file? You can use the existing file, or you can use the touch command. Touch. So to create the dummy file. Directory has the meaning also. So if you directory has the IWX, IWX, IWX. Can you execute the directory? No. So there's a different meaning in the directory. We will learn that later during the file, the structure.
Professor,
Yes.
do you, wait, no, yeah, how you would use minus using that?
There's no minus here. You directly specify the permission.
Oh,
For user group R.
how do you take out the permission?
You don't have to take out. So for example, if you want to take out the read permission from here, it will be 7. This is the 6. This is the 1. 671. You can just type 671. Okay? Smart way. You cannot see any dot file name. Okay? However, if you type A, option A, you can see the dot. Dot means it's a kind of hidden file. It's not frequently used. So we don't want to, the operating system doesn't want to bother the user to display everything. So if there's a dot, that means it's kind of a hidden file. So like the configuration. So for example, in this case, dot BASH is the bash shell, your shell programming configuration file. Okay. Also, BASH under my history. You don't have to open, but you can use the cat command. Cat BASH under history. You can see all the comment that I typed. It's a history file. Okay. So it's a kind of a hidden file, just for your additional information. Okay, next, the process. This is also frequently used. You use a lot this command while you are using the Linux system. So first, the process status. How can you check the process status? With the PS command. If you want to know more about the command, how can you search? You can use the Google, or you can use man PS. Okay? Then it will show everything. It's a Linux user manual, very, very detailed. Even though 99% of the information you can find from the Google, actually from this manual page. Okay? So if you can clearly understand this description and even this one provide example, all the frequently used option and everything, very detailed. So for me, for example, I know only the less than 10% of the full functionality of this one. I don't have to memorize, just whenever I need, I can search and use it. Okay? So for example here, print only the process ID of the syslogd and something like that. So you can use such an option. Whenever you need, you can search and refer this site. To exit this one, you can ESAC, the Q. We will see. So VI command, okay? VI command is used in the main page, okay? Then what is the command is a PS. So if you type the PS, you can just see the process that you create, okay? So one is the bash shell. It's my shell program. It's my program, okay? Probably my current process is created by the parents process. I don't know who is, but mine is the 1998 in this case. In your case, it may be different name. Then I type the PS, the current command. So 1998 create the 2080, the process, PS process. Okay, so there are two the processes here. Then if you want to see the details, PS minus L. Usually L option is a long list. Okay, so you can see the more details. So you can see the 1998. For example, 2081 is the current process. PS minus L command. You can see the PS command, and there is parent's ID is the my shell 1998. Okay, and additional information like the priority and I don't know what that means, and it's a TTY terminal number, and this is the terminal number and the command. And also, if this is a long running job, it shows the CPU time also. Okay.
The TTY
It's a terminal.
terminal.
Yes. If I type the PS minus L here, you can see the PTS is a 0. Okay. Here is a PTS 1 because I opened the two terminal. It's a 0, 1, 2. You can get the more the information that you need with the command.
Wait, Professor, so PTS1 is the terminal, right?
Yes. There are two terminals I opened in this case. I opened the two terminals.
On your virtual machine.
Yeah, virtual machine is your operating system. In the operating system, there are many terminals. Okay, this is called the terminal, the software. Okay, to connect. Okay, then, so I prepared this command PS-EF. So it's very frequently used. It can show details. So it's too long, so I can use the more command with a pipe. So if you type this one, it can show the user ID of the process. PID is from the kernel init process. You can see the init command. Okay. Then CPU time, running time is I guess 4 minutes. I'm not sure. So you can see most of them are the system process. You can use the space to move to the next screen. Okay. Then the last one, operate OS. The my user create the PS-EF and more. So pipe actually create the two process, as you can see, PS and more. Then communicate using the pipe, as we have learned before. So you can clearly see the two process are created. Okay. Sometimes you want to forcibly terminate the process. It's a frequently happen, or sometimes you can control C when you are using the window-based system or close the window. But here, the terminal command line interface, there's no way to click or whatever. So in that case, how can you forcibly terminate the process? We can use the kill the command. The kill command is the command that sends the signal. Okay, everything should be done by the signal. Send the signal to the child processor. Why don't you die? Something like that. Okay, why don't you terminate? Why don't you wait? Why don't you do something? So you can send the signal. So kill command is actually command that sends the signal. There are different levels of the signal, but we mostly use the -9 option. -9 means the 9 level. Level 9, the terminate. So why don't you die right away? So why don't we test this one? To do that, you need to open 2 terminals. Why don't you open the 2 terminals? Okay. So then you can use the Alt tab, toggle different one, or you can click if you are able to click. So why don't you create the 2 terminal? Okay. Then in the first terminal, you can type, for example, binary calculator. This is still running, right? As you can see, it's running. So this one is waiting for your input, like the 1 plus 1 is equal to, so binary. It's keep running. So change the window to this one, okay? Change it to this one, then first check process. So PS-EF pipe grab means filter only BC. I'd like to see, or you can type PS-EF, then you can see the BC is running, right? OS 2085, whose parents is 1998, is in PTS1, is running. So BC is currently running process. So I realized that this one has a problem, so I'd like to terminate. Firstly, at the time, keep this number, process ID, 2085. Then you can type 2085. So here, -9 option 2085. Okay, then you can, if we type this one, go back to, it's a kill. Okay, so this is a way to manage the process. It's a frequently happen when you submit your program, right? The shell program, it's running unexpectedly. So you cannot even the control C. Control C is an interrupt signal. Interrupt signal is not working. At that time, here the command is the most powerful option. So, however, you can kill only the process that you create. So what if there is another user, not OS user, running the unusual job? At the time, administrator, the root, the super user need to send the kill signal. Okay. So next, there are different types, the status of the program. Okay. So one is the foreground. Foreground is the current one. You can see what's going on, the process. Background means background service program. Even though the process is currently running, you can do something. For example, when you type the BC here, you cannot do anything. Only you can use the binary calculator. It's a foreground processing. Okay? It's a foreground processing. But if I type the BC and ampersand with the ampersand means it's a background processing. It's a running, but as a service background. For example, so right now I can do something. I can run other command like this one. But when you type the PS-EF, the BC is currently running. Okay? You can see the BC is currently running. How can you get back the background process to the foreground? At that time, you can type FG, foreground. So BC is right now foreground. You are currently in the BC command. So to quit, you can type the. Oops. So this time, if something happen, we can clear. So BC is the 2090. Okay, this one is clear. Okay, so this is a way of using the foreground and background. You can test with the VI command. So background. So you can see one is currently 1, the background process. If I type the test 1, the background again, it's a second 2. So you can see. So you can bring back foreground number 2. So this is the second process that I opened. And foreground 1, this is the first one. Okay. FG, BGs are also using a lot. So but nowadays, you can open as many terminals as possible. So nowadays, most of the developer or the user, they try to open as many terminals instead of using background and foreground. Okay? But long time ago, when we have only CRT, one terminal, there's no way so to learn the simultaneously. So at the time, we can use such a foreground and background. Okay, I will give the 5 more minutes to test. If you are not sure how to exit, how to use the command that you execute, why don't you kill? Why don't you send the kill signal? Then run it again. The VI. So how to start? Oh, by the way, there are different types of the editor, text editor provided by the Linux or Unix system. VI is the oldest one and most popular one, but VI has a limitation to open the big size of the file. Okay, because this is how it works. When you type the VI command with the file name, it's a VI file name. Then, actually, if there exists a file in the directory, then it will copy the file as a temporary. Okay? So modify, then replace the original file. When you add the exit with the writing of the VI. So which means, what if I open the 1 GB size file? It needs copy the 1 GB. So it takes a time. So even memory cannot handle it. So VI is usually for the small size of the file. If you need to open the big size file, you can use Emacs. Emacs is mentioned here. Emacs is usually can open big size of file. Actually, Emacs does not open the whole the file, only part of the file. Okay, so different mechanism. And also, the Pico is the Pico project. Pico is the kind of the project standardized such a Unix and Linux command. So Pico editor is quite similar as a VI, but it provides the menu-driven approach. It shows the menu, so you can use. Some of the developer or user are very familiar with the Pico. So you know the dean of School of Engineering, the Professor Tarek, he used the Pico editor and the Pico email, the tool, I think until a couple of years ago, because he can use such a Pico the software. Okay, but so I don't think there is still popular Pico. So but VI is also so. Why don't we type the VI and file name whatever you want? So let's create the test 1. Okay. What about the file extension? Is it required in the Linux system? No, it's not required. Unlike the Windows system, even not required, but it's a preferred. The most of the file in Windows has the file extension to represent the types of the file. Unix system and Linux system, no. But sometimes to explicitly show the type of file, you can type, for example, test1.txt, something like that. But it's not required. Yes?
No, I was going to say, I thought you might need extension if you want to
Yeah.
do programming.
Yes.
Like C++.
Source code, for example, if you code the C program, you definitely need the .c file. Okay, but even though you create the C file without the extension, you can still create the source file. Then you can change the file name later. Okay, so test one. So if you type this one, this is the screen. Then you can see financial. So focus on because you cannot see anything when you open the editor. That's the problem. That's the most scary thing when user start to use the VI. Because there's no menu driven, it's a command line. So just focus on the bottom line. Using the bottom line, there are two modes. One is the command mode or control mode. So you can type the command. What kind of command? Right? You can write the file. You can quit the file. You can change the file. So command mode. Another one is editing mode, insert mode. Edit mode, basically you can type something. Why don't you type anything, LEE, for example. Can you see anything? No. As a default, when you log on the VI first, it's not editing mode, it's the command mode. Okay? How can we move to the command mode? We need to type certain, it's a default, so from the command mode to the editing mode, we need to type something, the command, to move to the editing mode. For example, I represent what? Insert. So, for example, here, so when you type I, you cannot see any change, but the mode is changed to the editing. Then you can type anything like this one. It's an insert. Okay. Then, what about I go back to command line, command mode here. At that time, whenever you want to go back to the command mode, it's the ESC key. This is a key. Don't type the ESC, ES key. Change. So, when you go, if you want to go to the editing mode, you need to type the proper command. Okay, from the command mode. There are several. A is append, R is a replace, S is a substitute. All this command actually enter the editing mode. Okay, insert mode. Otherwise, if you want to go back to the command mode, ESC, then enter the command, which means you should know command. Okay, so in this case, so ESC, what if? So that's the reason when you are using the VI, you can see a lot of time type the ESC. You can type ESC to make sure somebody likes to type ESC several times. So then this is right now the command mode, but you cannot see any change. So here I want to delete for this is just an example. Delete the entire line. This is a line. Type the DD, ESC plus DD, then it delete the line, one line entirely. So it's still in the command mode. So always you are in the command mode. Okay. So which means we need to know what kind of command are available. First, the bottom of the page, the 3.3.2, A. A is append. So that's the reason it's ESCA. Why? Because we want to make sure go back to the command mode. Then type A, which means append the text. A. Okay? Then large A is append the text to the end of the line, to the end of file, or end of the file, okay? End of current line, end of the current line. So end of current line, okay? The capital letter A is append the data at the end of the current line. I is insert current position, and I is insert, the capital letter I is the command to insert the beginning of the current line. Okay? O is the command to enter the insert the new line. Insert the new line above that. Okay? Big capital O, I'm not sure. I need to type. Sometimes I cannot remember. So I will test it. And R is replace the character. Okay? Replace the character. So RX means the current character will be replaced by X. Okay? R0. Current character is replaced by 0. Okay? Also, you can do the, if you type 10R, from current cursor, next 10, including this one, will be replaced by the next character. Okay? Larger, I'm not sure, I'm not frequently used. The S is a substitute. Okay? So why don't we practice this one by following the, if you know, if you can do that, you can do by yourself. Otherwise, why don't you? So always ESC. Okay? Always ESC. Then I direct enter the editing mode with I. Okay? So type I, nothing happened, but so inserting mode right now. Then if you are not sure, why don't you try it again? ESCI, ESCI. Okay, ESCI. So first I'm going to type my name. Okay, this is still editing mode. How do you know? The cursor is blinking. So it's editing mode, inserting mode. Okay, so if you want to go back to the command mode, ESC, you can see it's still blinking. This is a little bit different, but anyway. So this time, so at this point, if you wanna append the data after current position, you can type the command A. A, okay? It's the next. Then I type the space and CSE DE. At this moment, how can we change the line? Just enter. New line character is also type of character. There is no specific command. Just type enter. Then operating system. Okay. Then ESC. So we learned the I and the A. What else? And replace. So I want to change operating system S by the number 1. Okay? At that time, I type 1. So it's changed by 1. Okay? Then ESC is a command mode. Okay? Why don't you try? Then you will realize. But you also, some of the students are curious. I try to move here or here. How can you move? So this is the most difficult part when you learn the first time, the VR. When you move the cursor in the VR, some of the operating system Linux allowed to use the direction, arrow pad. Okay? But sometimes not. But typical way of moving the cursor is using HJKL. HJKL. Do I remember? I usually not remember. So H is the left. Okay, L is the right. My finger remember, but usually I do not remember which one is which. So K is up, and J is down. So this is down, up, left, right. Okay? So left, right, up, down. Okay? So let me move to the beginning of the file J. Then we learned capital letter A is appending to the end of current line. So at the time, so first ESC, then capital letter A, it means the shift to A, the cursor moves to the end of line, and also it's ready to get the data. So, for example, then ESC. So then move to the next line. Okay, I'd like to replace the systems again. So R, okay, and S, then ESC. This HJKL will be used in the main page, and many interfaces used in the Linux utilize HJKL. Okay, so but I'm not sure this one also allow this the Debian OS allow the keypad arrow pad to move the cursor. So if you want, you can use the arrow to move the specific position, but not always. Actually, the arrow pad is not the original way. The HJKL is used. But if you want to, you can use the arrow pad. Okay, but not always the arrow pad is working. Okay, so why don't you practice? There, I said actually there are 3 different modes, right? One is command, and another one is editing. What is the third one? That is actually part of command mode. Okay, but you can explicitly enter the command using semicolon. So first, in the command mode, why don't you type semicolon? You can see this change, semicolon and this. At this moment, the VI is waiting for the specific command. Mostly write the file or save the file or the save as the file or replace the file, or sometimes you can work with the multiple file. You can move to another file. So mostly this semicolon command mode is used for the writing or the when you complete the editing. So W is the writing. The Q is the without saving, quit the file. But if you want to write W, okay, W means just a save. Okay, if you type the W, it's a saved. You can see the written. And also semicolon with W, Q is a write and quit at the same time. Mostly this is used for write, quit, and falsely. Okay, doesn't check anything, just quit. So then it will be written. So if I open it again, so it's already there. Okay. There are some additional, although I don't explain the delete. Okay, to delete, for example, delete is also editing mode. So you need to enter the editing mode. How? The X is the delete one character. Okay, so for example, the ESC X. One more time, X whenever type is one character by one character. Then ESC. Okay, then if you want to delete the line, so you can use the DD command that I show you. So if you wanna delete, so this one. What about the copy and paste? Is it possible to the copy and paste? It's called a yank. Yank is allowed in editing at the VI. So YY is a yank. So if you ESC always YY, then paste is P. You can type P whatever you want. Yeah. Several times. So what if I want to yank the 5 lines, 5 YY, then P. So 5 lines is the paste together. So YY is the yank. And also this is also very popularly used, especially for me. CW, change word. So if we want to change operating system to the database, operating system, operating is replaced by the database, CW, change word. Then you can see this dollar sign. So this from the current position to the end, usually dollar sign means the end, so it will be replaced by your typing. So for example, I try to type database, system, and then if you are done, ESC.
ES what?
ESC, escape. What else? These are the very basic of the basic command. Why don't you try? So you can practice. So why don't you make what's the good example? Why don't you type the first page of the exercise lab or anything? So at least the 5 lines. Why don't you type? Okay.
SBI, right? Because I had them. Then we had them.
Yes, depending on the interface, sometimes it shows the different. This is the more convenient for me. Insert mode, it shows them. But I think that this time you are out of range.
Yeah.
Something, right? Why don't you quit and open the file? So, let's start.